people of the internet, the sort of freedom astrologer once again here, and bringing you a dose of freedom. Now, guys, we're at video 10. It's the end. It's the final video of this mini series that I'm doing called Spiritual Awakening through Astrology, or Explained through Astrology. It's been a bit of a wild ride. I remember when I got the inspiration to do this actually many years ago, to start doing this series, and I felt I wasn't ready to kind of share some of the things. And I'm glad I actually decided to postpone it and to do it now, when I'm kind of understand more about these matters and more about myself and more about these cycles that we're actually discussing here. Because remember, guys, as you can probably have begun to see, that these, although some of the descriptions that I'm describing or giving you are a bit different here and there, but they got the cyclical nature of crisis, transformation, and then kind of like the opening and spiritual awakening, and discovering your gifts, and seeing the world more wholly or wholesomely. That is repeating constantly in what I'm saying, and I think this is one of the biggest gists of this video. It's called the integration phase 10, video 10, phase 10. And now, again, we've been through a lot of murkiness, a lot of darkness. At first, the kind of like general overall crisis hit. We couldn't believe any more what we're doing, what we're believing about the world. Everything seemed bleak. There was nothing to believe in. Then our mentors, teachers didn't make sense anymore. They didn't have the answers. So it's all it's been a bit of a shit show. let's put it that way. Let's put it bluntly. And now, as we are here, and I have an example as well, but there are many examples we've talked about and discussed about that kind of, talk a similar story. So again, here we have Jupiter just entering the 9th house. And especially important if Jupiter is your chart ruler as well, but even alone, Jupiter coming from the 8th house, entering the 9th house, literally we've been transforming in the 8th. This is where we transform the 8th house and Pluto. And this is the 9th house where we feel connected to higher realm, higher sources of abundance and knowledge and wisdom and teachings. And we see the beauty of the world, and we see everything as a whole. Everything makes sense here. Now, Jupiter, or the ruler of the first as well, in this case, this would be the moon. So if we put the moon into the 9th house again, one of the reasons why people ruled by the moon are so cyclical is the moon changes sign every 2.5 days. So imagine that. Imagine spending 2.5 days each month, in deep transformation, and again 2.5 days seeing the bigger picture. So this is one of the reasons I even picked this example, to show you the cyclical nature of our spiritual lives, or our spiritual awakening in life in general. But a lot of that is constantly happening. So what are some other important astrological configurations? So we need Jupiter aspect to the ascendant is also a good one. This can even be like opposition or square at times, but when there's an opposition and square, like in this case there's an opposition to the ascendant ruler, there's a tendency to kind of overdo it and over believe and over spiritualize things. But when Jupiter is in a harmonious sextile or trine, even conjunction, I would say, aspect to the 9th house ruler, the 1st house ruler, even conjunct the ascendant, gives trine or a sextile to the ascendant itself, or is in the first house at times. These are all indications. Like Jupiter comes to help. Jupiter expands the mind. Jupiter helps to see the bigger picture stuff. And now in this phase 10 integration, what do we mean by this bigger picture stuff? We start to realize, after being in crisis with teachers, with life in general, Jupiter gives a dose of meaning, again, in the 9th house, always. And not just the meaning, being able to see that everybody, every phase, every cycle has its meaning, has their point. You learn through all the phases. You grow and understand things on a deeper level through all the phases. You understand that sometimes you can go to your teachers, your mentors, and get the answers. Sometimes it's okay to go deeper within and be alone in your suffering. You start to put these big things and topics all together, and it kind of paints the bigger picture of you kind of understand why you suffered, what is the bigger meaning behind that suffering, and what can you now do with everything that you've learned. Because within that suffering, within the 8th house and within Pluto kind of hard aspects, it's very hard to see the big picture, the good stuff, the things that are coming out of the suffering. But now this is a time where you see it all makes sense. You integrate a lot of the stuff that you kind of thought was maybe pointless suffering or kind of pain. You understand now the gist of it, and the teachers start to make sense, the mentors start to make sense again, and generally it's I would say it's a pretty, whenever Jupiter does a good aspect to the things I mentioned or transits those houses I mentioned, it opens up a lot. And we're looking at exact aspects, guys, as well. I just want to mention that to be really clear. Yeah, and 4 degrees is definitely enough when it's coming in. When it's separating, I would say 2 degrees. And you will start to see everything makes sense now in this last phase, guys. It's the last last one. And this is one of the gists of this video as well. I say last phase, but as you can understand, this is a cyclical experience, and spiritual awakening is a cyclical nature that is always ongoing. This is the huge point that I'm making, that the spiritual awakening is an ongoing process throughout life. Now, sometimes it hits sooner, sometimes or earlier in life, sometimes later in life, but it usually does hit, and we're going to see it more often than not now, with people, with the changes going on the planet. More people are going to go through it. More people are going to need support. More people are going to need that knowledge of transformation, knowledge of how to suffer and let go of it, and have how to see bigger picture things and how to make sense of everything while they're going through difficult things. So guys, if you made it to this part and you understand these cycles that are constantly ongoing in our lives, and maybe you are already a kind of like a master transformational person, and you've kind of mastered that spiritual awakening process, and you can understand obviously that there's always a deeper layer to discover, always a deeper understanding to be had, and again then brought into the public space, into the open. Hopefully you guys understand that all your gifts and experiences and wisdom, knowledge about these matters is going to be very, very much needed, and it's already needed, I would say, but it's going to be even more needed. And I hope you bring it out. I hope you share it with others. I hope you help other people transform. I'll keep doing my best to do the same, obviously. And let's go and let's enjoy this integration part and do our best to welcome in the transformational part when it comes again, so that we know already that it's again time to go under, or let's say into the darkness. But we know now that through darkness usually light reveals itself sooner, more likely than later. And guys, I wish you a lot of good things along your spiritual awakening journey. I hope this series helped. I hope it now makes sense why at times you need to go to the darkness to bring those things to light, to help others, to help yourself. And let's keep on raising the vibration of ourselves. Let's keep on raising the vibration of Earth itself. Let's keep on making things, creating things, and see you again soon in one of the next videos, guys. Bye for now.